Welcome to the Rehumanization Station. I'm your collaborator, Christopher Jones, a.k.a. Dr. X, and this podcast is an extension to my Flippin' and Vibin' brand, where vibers seek to transform narratives, society, education, sport, and a variety of other sectors. Today is our Isball Life Series 2 premiere, where we have our Team Durham alumni vibers named Charlton Jones and Adrian Miller with us today. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Just glad to finally be a part of this podcast. I've been seeing it a lot and watching it, and you've been doing great things. So just happy to be a part of it and living life, man.
Doing great, man. Happy to be here.
All right, as y'all can see, if you're watching the video, we're going to pass the mic a little bit back and forth. And we're going to talk a bit about their experiences at Durham University, how they navigated that, and what they're doing now. So basically Adrian is a senior program manager at Amazon, and Charlton is an educator and basketball coach at Cinco Ranch High School, where we went to school. Charlton is also, as you can tell, my younger brother. People tend to think we're triplets, but hey, it's 3 years younger. Yes, we're getting up there, but yeah. So I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves, but we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into the vibing questions. So this is part of the show where we just vibe and allow our listeners to get an idea of your background and your personal experiences, right? So just briefly introduce yourselves about where you come from, your family, your identity, and where you're at right now.
All right. So Adrian Miller. I'm from a place called Hernando, Mississippi. So if you look on the map, you're going to find this place called Memphis, Tennessee, and you're going to go down about 10 minutes down the highway. You're going to find this little town called Hernando, Mississippi. So was there all the way through high school, then moved to John Brown University in Arkansas. I think that'll probably come up here in a little bit because, basketball is a small world at the end of the day. But went there to play basketball on a full scholarship. From there, worked at Walmart home office, which is in Arkansas, before moving over to Durham, England, across the water there. But most recently, I've been living in Nashville, and now I'm actually living in Katy, Texas, and still kicking it with this crew here. So that's me and a little bit of my background.
Yes, sir. My dog, Charlton Jones. Some people call me CJ, but like my big bro said, I'm the baby boy. I'm the youngest of 5. Parents grew up in East Chicago, Indiana. They moved down here in college, and they ended up staying here, which was probably the best decision for all of us. Grew up in Katy, Texas. Graduated from Cinco Ranch High School, which is actually where I'm now an educator at and coaching basketball. College, ended up playing this kid here. Didn't know it yet when we got to England, but we'll talk more about that later. But I went to college at Oklahoma City University. A lot of people wondered why I didn't go the D1 route or a different route. And I put a lot of chips in the bag on myself and banked on myself and ended up working out, which led me to Durham later on, which I loved. After college, I ended up having a tragic ankle injury, which actually sidelined me for about a year. A lot of people don't know that. And it sidelined me for a year. It was probably one of the darkest moments of my life. No basketball, no sports, no moving really. Thought my career was over. Ended up working at Bowmore Cadillac in Oklahoma. Shout out Mark Moore for giving me a chance. And that moment, that year of my life, really navigated a lot of my mental. I was pretty successful selling those cars, but it wasn't filling my cup. And when I realized it wasn't filling my cup, I knew that there was something missing, and that something missing was basketball, which eventually led me to moving back to Houston, training, and meeting up with my big bro in Durham, and the rest is history. And so now I'm married. I got 2 boys. I got a 15-year-old stepson who's great, and I got a 13-month-old at the crib who just learned how to walk this weekend. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and the most beautiful wife, most beautiful woman on this planet Earth. That's where I'm at.
Appreciate y'all sharing that. But before we get into Durham, y'all played against each other, right?
Yeah. What happened?
How was that?
You want to go first? You want me to go first? Hey, I gave him. Hey, you can go check the stats. We should pull up the stats right here because I was there. Hey, I was there. We went 1-1 against each other. I'll say that. And all I remember is we went 1-1. They couldn't guard me, couldn't keep me off the boards. That's how I remember it. So I don't know. He man, this dude right here. So I've known you now 10 years. And this would have happened probably 12 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe even more than that.
It would have been 2011, 2012 college season.
Yeah, so every year now, and the way he played gets better and better. So I don't know what story he's gonna say right now, but we can see.
I mean, I know there's some way to put it maybe stop it and make a clip or show the stat sheet, but we went 1-1. He's right about that, but there's a big emphasis on one of those wins where I hit the game winner against them.
Go check the stats and see what I did. And that's all I'm saying.
So, it's my guy, but I hit the game winner against him in college. We didn't know each other at that time. We didn't know.
He did not call off the backboard.
Definitely wasn't off the backboard. All net. Yeah. Huh?
You shot it from half court too, huh?
Nah.
See,
but yeah, we didn't know that breaking his heart that time was going to lead us to being brothers down the road. But beautiful journey that led us all to Durham. All three of us connected in Durham, where we'll get into here in a little bit.
Appreciate y'all sharing that. So I told y'all in for a very funny episode with these two, man. I told them they can do an offshoot and do their own podcast for real. But now, okay, thank y'all for introducing yourself, some of your background. All right, so now let's get into it, right? So what made you go to Durham? You know, I know you mentioned Charlton mentioned a little bit, but you can mention a bit more detail. What made you go to Durham?
Durham. What made me go to Durham? So I kind of touched on it a little bit with my ankle surgery. Ended up working at Cadillac. That wasn't really filling up my cup, and a lot of people thought I was crazy at the time. I was making 22 years old. I mean, I was making over six figures as a 22-year-old, and I left that all in the wind to go to Durham. But why Durham? Simply put, Big Bro was there. All my life, I grew up, playing basketball, being with my brothers, playing in open gyms, going from, city to city playing with Big Bro. And oddly enough, we never got a chance to actually play on the same team in a real life game. And when I knew that opportunity presented itself for me to go further my education, get a master's, and play alongside Big Bro, it was honestly a no-brainer. Whether it was for $1, $10, free, whatever that costs, that's priceless. To go team up with my family overseas and continue to play the game that I love. So that's, ultimately why I ended up in Durham, because Big Bro was there and I trusted him and I knew he had my back. He's had my back my whole life, and so it was a no-brainer for me, and that's how I ended up in Durham.
Yeah, so mine was a little bit different, how I got there. So that was 10 years ago, and at that point was a different point in my life. Was with somebody else at that point, was not happy in Arkansas actually working. Was very successful at the job at Walmart home office. Had been there 3 years, was moving up in the company. I think I had 4 or 5 promotions at that time, but never got a chance to play basketball after college. At that point, made a decision along with someone else at that point to go overseas to England. Was definitely not my first choice, I'll put it that way. Let's see. So I went over there in October. That March before, had a trial in Germany and Dorsten. Craziest thing happened where I ended up having a fish allergic reaction the day before a trial. And that did not go well the next day. Needless to say, went back to working at Walmart home office. But then it just set up down the road this crazy opportunity to go over to England. Left Walmart, pretty much packed up everything. Came across the waters and met some pretty cool people along the way. People that I talk to now every day and consider family. So things happen the way they need to. People come in your life different seasons. When they need to, right? Doesn't mean they're always going to be there, but things happen for a certain reason. So,
yes, sir. People come and go, just like your hair.
That junk gone.
Mine too, though.
That junk gone. That junk gone. Back in England, I had a fade, though, boy.
Boy, you had the part.
I had a part, too.
Yes, sir, though. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, to add to that, so when you made the decision, sounds like y'all both had pretty prestigious jobs, right? Y'all making pretty good money, but you decided to come to Durham, right? Did you do much research behind Durham before you came? What was it more for basketball, or was it more for studies? Was it a bit of both? Yeah, what about that? I think about that.
Yeah. So.
Now let me go first, because I know what you're gonna say. He's trying to think of something. Yeah, you're a teacher. He's a teacher, so he tried to say the right answer here. I'll go first. So leaving Walmart, there all my jobs focused on supply chain, logistics, replenishment at that point. So I did see the opportunity of being able to get my master's in supply chain. Looked up Durham's like education from that perspective, and it was top notch, right? So that was an opportunity, as well as getting to play basketball at another level. So that opportunity was something that I couldn't pass up on, even walking away from a job and opportunity, because I was a part of a leadership program at Walmart that was pretty prestigious at that point. So walking away from that, still being able to chase a dream while also being able to use education and supply chain masters and put me where I'm at now. As something else on my resume. So it was a great opportunity from that standpoint. CJ?
Yes, sir. It's a good answer, my man.
Yeah, now remember the question was, I'm going to tell you the question. The question was, so was it just about, was it just about education? Was it just about basketball? Because I remember our first conversation. So I'm going to let you answer it, though. But yeah, go ahead. We're all waiting to hear.
So I've never shied away from my standpoint.
Remember, you are a teacher.
Education and athletics, right? I tell my kids all the time. I tell people all the time. I was never a student athlete. This is my term. They might have to coin this phrase. This is CJ. This is nobody else made this up. I made this up. Yeah. So I need a little money for this one. But I was never a student athlete. I was an athletic student. All right, and there's a big difference there. So I put sports in front of education my whole life. And that's not to say that I didn't put an emphasis on education, because I made all A's. I had, I think, a 3.8 GPA. I did all those little things, but I always valued sports more than education. So when I went to Durham, I'm not going to say it was because of academics, right? I honestly thought maybe I'd go to class, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd finish my master's, maybe I wouldn't. I did. Yes, I did. But man. Yeah, I had to stay a little longer. But I did get that master's in business. But no, I didn't do a lot of research, honestly. Like I said, Big Bro was there. I trusted his word. He spoke highly of Durham. I knew it was a world-renowned university. So I was excited to get my master's. I was ready for that, but it was for basketball. I made that leap of faith for basketball primarily, and to be around family. So that's why I chose Durham.
Thank you both for those amazing answers and being honest. Athletic student. I like this. Okay. Athletic student, right? And so I guess you talked about what brought you to Durham, but what at Durham, once you got there, right, what brought you peace and joy and happiness at Durham?
Anybody that knows me, yes, knows that I'm naturally, I'm a happy dude, right? Positive dude, peaceful, joyful dude. So when you ask what at Durham brought peace and joy, obviously, number one, like I told you, I knew I was going to be around family, competing, playing basketball, competing on the game, just competing in general, peace and joy, the nature, quite oddly enough. I've never been a person that loves nature, but once I got to Durham, I learned to appreciate the nature, and there was something very peaceful and serene about it. And meeting my boy right here, headache, bald head boy, but a lot of talks and conversations throughout the year that I was there, the year that he was there with us, talking to Big Bro in the room with A, and those nights just playing 2K, playing the game, chopping up with my brothers, it brought so much peace that they don't know it brought me, and love and just camaraderie. So I would say at Durham, peace and joy came from competing, parlaying with my brothers, walking around the nature, and just being able to be free out there.
Number 1 in 2K though, right? Number 1 in the world.
Number 1 in the world, 2K. Man. I think that was 2014. I was number 1 in the world, 2K.
See, that's what I said. We're gonna ask him this question next year, and it's gonna be for like 2 or 3 years in a row. Dang, man, what are you talking about, man? See, yeah. So,
you know the question?
Yeah, I remember the question. It took long enough, man. Golly. We on a time limit.
Come on, Al.
All right. Dang, I forgot the question. No.
Peace and joy, my boy. What brought you peace and joy?
Yeah, no, it was it was up and down year for me on a personal front with a few things, but what I'll say is having the support of this family here that I didn't know at that point walking into the doors of Durham, and really the culture and seeing a different place. I had always traveled and loved to travel. I have an opportunity to live overseas, go to different countries, experience different cultures, experience different foods that we just don't have here in America, right? So it was a different way of living that I did really enjoy. It was my first time without a car. It was a whole bunch of miles, man. Walked a whole bunch of miles. So when you say nature, the first thing I think about is like walking through the woods. I would have never thought I would have did something like that, or even walking to class with my backpack on, right? But it was something different to experience, and I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity. So yeah, it was a good time there for sure.
Thank you. That walking is different, isn't it? So when being at Durham, could you think of anybody who has been influential at different stages of your life? Let's say prior to Durham and while being at Durham.
All right, let me think about that one. That's a good question. Oddly enough, what I'll say is number one for me, like having that family support. So prior to this, my parents had never had iPhones. So trying to walk them through, at that point, it was Skype. It was Skype, trying to set them up how to communicate there. But we made sure that everybody got iPhones, so then we could do iMessage, and it was just a lot easier at that point versus trying to tell them to download WhatsApp or different things of that nature. Even with the time change, they were there supporting me throughout the whole thing, right? So, and then once I got there, it was meeting CJ, meeting Twin here. Like it felt like a different set of brothers that I didn't know that I needed or knew that I had. So I have my own brother that's been there for me every step of the way. He was 11 years older than me, and my parents have always been there for me. But having a different set of brothers outside of ones that I might have had through college basketball, like it really was just something that was different at a different stage in life that I didn't know that I needed. And there was actually a teacher from a supply chain, Dr. Manish. He was a character, and just remembering some of those interactions there, then just something that you'll always remember the rest of your life.
Yes, sir. That's deep, my boy. Good answer. When you think about most influential people before and after and during Durham, I would definitely say before getting to Durham, I actually had one of my best friends passed away, and the irony of that was that before I ended up at Durham, when I was going through college, I always kind of used my boy Colin, CB, rest in peace, as someone to motivate me. The way he lived his life, very, very, very positive guy. People love to be around him. So, and then you look at my family as well, and very tight knit family. Grew up the youngest, fighting and clawing, competing at a high level with my brothers, and so it kind of naturally built that family vibe when it came to being influenced by family and friends. And I didn't realize, right, once I got to Durham, now we fast forward to Durham, that best friend that I lost, I ended up gaining a brother in Adrian who, ironically, was one of the reasons I stayed. Now, it was the first week we were there, and I found out we didn't have as many games as I thought we were going to have. I found out the lack of resources that we were dealing with, and I sat there and looked at my boy and said, "Hey, bro, I'm about to get on the plane. I'm out of here." And he spoke about Big Bro, and he spoke about not being able to leave Big Bro, and he just talked about, let's just finish this thing out. We started it, and didn't know at that moment when I was talking to this guy that, he would end up being my brother. He'd end up living 7 minutes away from us. We'd be raising family together. So I would definitely say prior to Durham, most influential people were my family, my brothers, my sister, Colin. And then when I got to Durham, it was no question that Adrian, the man he is, the values he has, he made me grow up. His maturity, he was that influential being that I needed to add to that family I had with Twin there with me.
Thank y'all for sharing that. And now you just talked about challenging moments, right? Could y'all expand on what were some of the most challenging moments and how did you navigate them?
Challenging moments in Durham. It's ironic because those challenging moments ended up being the ones that, made me a better person at the end. But I'd say number one, the most challenging moment was the walking. Now I ended up loving the walking, so don't take that wrong. But literally, we had to, whether it was 45 minutes in the rain to get to class, another 30 minutes to get to practice. I mean, we just traveled 4 hours to play in the game. And the bus doesn't drop us off at the house; it drops us down.
Bro, that's crazy. Hold on, man. I'm sorry. Man. I'm sorry. Man, no, you got no. Yeah. The bus used to drive past where we lived, and then told us we had to go walk.
I had to walk back up.
That's crazy.
So the transportation piece was tough. I mean, we spent many a days chasing after buses with our backpacks on and boots and everything. We had to walk through the woods. One time, I was walking by myself in the woods. We had to use our phone as a light, and my phone actually died, and I was lost for about 2 hours in wilderness in England, and a man and his dog led me back to safety. But
man, that's a true story.
That's a true story. That's fact. And then I would say the second most challenging thing about England was, I say it all the time, sitting corner. It's a phrase that I say. I use it with my players. I actually, when I got to England, was the first time since Coach Tracy. Shout out Coach Tracy, but you benched me, and you was crazy for benching me when I was in elementary and junior high. But it was the first time in a long time where I actually had to sit corner. We had a coach by the name of Coach Lee. Love the guy. Wish him the best. I'm not sure where he's at right now. He might still be at Durham. But yeah, he wasn't using me how I thought he should be using me on a basketball court, and it was one of the most challenging times when it came to basketball for me. But what I had to do was accept it. He's the coach. I had to accept it, and I had to do my best on the defensive end to get us extra plays. But I had to sit corner a lot, and that was one of the most challenging things for me is kind of sitting corner in basketball and then the transportation. So, but I'll dig more deep into that sitting corner here in a little bit.
Yeah, I think you already talked about the walking. I did not fall in love with the walking. I still don't love walking. I've been recently married, and I told my wife, she tries to get me to walk, and I'm like, I did enough walking in England. And I actually put it up on the map one time, how far we had to walk from where we lived. I think for me, it was a Denani place or something like that.
Never looking at that again.
Man, I had to walk 45 minutes up and down hills with books and my basketball shoes. Man, that was a challenge. That was a challenge for sure. But I'll say also off the court, I had some personal things that weren't the best during that part of my life. Was able to, with this guy right here, really supported me through that. And then the other thing that I really think about is being hurt towards the end. Kind of tweaked my knee in a practice that we probably shouldn't even been having at that point. But ended up hurting my knee right at the end of the season. And sitting out and not being able to go out there with my brothers at that point and try to win it at the end of the year.
We win it. If he had a jersey on, we win it. And I hope everybody in England see this.
I think that for sure.
And if you don't believe it, pay the ticket. We'll run it back with the same squad, the same people, the same place we had in this life, and we can run it back right now.
We'll roll it back. Always roll that ball out. Always. So, yeah, that was definitely a challenge because I wanted to be out there with the team, finishing what we started. But again, you take those challenges and you live from them and you learn from them and grow. So,
what about academically? The shift.
You want to go first? I'll go first. No, he might take long. I'll go really quickly. So, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, academically, like I said, I had to stay a little bit longer to grab that master's. When it came to books, my whole life it's been fairly easy. Didn't have to study much. But when I got to Durham, world renowned, I took this accounting class and I took it for granted. Didn't study much, and when it came time for that last exam, they handed me my paper. And I just remember, sitting in a room of 200, 250 students and raising my hand and saying, I think y'all gave me the wrong test. And I was dead serious.
That's another true story.
That's just a true story.
It happened for real.
So I thought they gave me the wrong test. It wasn't. It was the correct test. I just didn't know what was going on. And I failed. And in life, you fail. And I said Durham taught me a lot of things. And I failed. I had to actually stay a month and a half longer. I studied hard, got back in the books, refocused, and ended up passing with flying colors and receiving my master's. So let that be a lesson to y'all,
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely a different setup from here, similar to what CJ was saying. Honors all the way through honors all the way through high school, college, and never was able to just kind of sit there and listen to the teacher. Didn't really study much after that, really. Able to pass the test, write the paper, whatever the case may be. But, man, England made you had to lock in for a little bit. So it'd be those times where we were playing the game and they were like, all right, we got to lock in and study for a little bit for sure. So it definitely did kind of teach me how to organize my time with things, where make sure that I'm setting aside the time that I need to make sure I'm getting done what I need to. So, but, man, that story, you raising your hand and saying you had the wrong test, that was hilarious. But again, like you said, like you ended up getting through that, and I think that's what we all did. We kind of leaned on each other to make sure that we were pulling people along. If I was falling in one place, he'll make sure he'll kind of grab me up, or I'll try to do the same for him. So,
thank y'all both for sharing, your stories, your background. Appreciate that. Now we're gonna get into the second part of the show, which people love, the flipping questions, and we'll go from there. All right, now we'll get more into your work and how you flip the script to traditional narratives within it. So I've had a chance to play with both, and also watch you play and navigate life as you're getting older. It's been over a decade now since Durham University in England. Few people get an opportunity to continue playing basketball after their undergraduate degree, and even less so to play overseas. So for our vibe audience and us too, let's attempt to flip the postgraduate sport script, shall we? Right? So what were some assumptions you had about England and overseas basketball, if you had any, prior to coming?
Before coming, I assumed not a whole lot of things, but I assumed, right, like there was going to be a lot of basketball played. I assumed that there might be a little culture shock. I thought that, leaving family, even though Big Bro was there, I thought in the grand scheme of things, it would be tough to navigate, get places, meet new people. Those are the two main things I assumed, that, we were going to get there. It's going to be this big basketball facility. We're going to have, a locker room. We're going to have fans. We're going to have all these people. We're going to play all these games. But then on the other end, I thought, it might be a little hard to, meet new people, and, how are the people going to treat me, and, is it just going to be me and Bro versus the world? Those were the two main assumptions I had before coming to Durham.
Yeah, I think there were some assumptions that I was making that I didn't realize. What I mean by that, so like, for example, what we've had here in America, no matter what, is kind of growing up playing basketball, was you get used to the gym whenever you want, right? Like if you have the right people that you can call, they can get you to a gym whenever. Or you can just walk down the street, find a basketball goal. And going to England, it was not that. It was soccer.
Soccer.
Yep. And then sometimes they're we can only have a gym between these 2 hours. At other times, they're doing tests in the gym. Like, What you mean? We can't go shoot? Or they have volleyball that's taking up everything, men's and women's. Or what's the cricket?
Cricket.
Yes.
Netball. Futsal.
Handball.
What?
All of them using the gym.
Ball head.
Yours. So all of them get equal time there, right? I remember, I think it was my second or third week there. Like, trying to figure out what's going on with the basketball stuff. And they're like, no, we're going to a rugby thing. What you mean, rugby? It's like, oh, yeah, it's rugby. Okay, let's go check it out. It's women's rugby. Couldn't pay me enough to go out there and do that. But, like, big turnout, right? So it was interesting. Just kind of my perceived assumptions that I didn't even realize I was having just because of how I grew up and what I was used to coming from here and then going to a place where basketball, yeah, we'll show up maybe. Yeah. Like, we'll see what happens. So, but yeah.
That's a good point. And to add to that, I guess for our listeners and obviously other people who are going to go to Durham, it's been extended now. So they put I think 30 million pounds, something like that, into the facility. So it's expanded. So there's like bigger courts, etc. But there's still that problem of access at times, right? What did y'all do? Because, back at home it's different. You have basketball, then you study, you may do other things. But what did you do to pass the time when you were in Durham, when you couldn't just have access to sport?
Yeah, I'll say there was a track. So we found our way to the track. But, I mean, what I will say, like, from a conditioning perspective, is definitely probably one of the best conditioned times in my life just from the amount of walking that I was doing. Or either we would go run or get into the ice bath or after practice, and you still have to walk back 30, 40 minutes, right, to get back to the house. So that made time go by. But outside of that, I mean, it was I got some of my video game skills up for sure. But, I mean, one thing I will say that's cool about a basketball is, I mean, you can still go out in the driveway and dribble, right? So there's still things that you can do. You don't always need a basketball goal, right? You still have that, and you can work on your conditioning when you don't have access. But it was definitely it was interesting, and had to get creative with some of the things I would do.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he hit it spot on. I mean, mainly, right? A lot of outside fitness that's not basketball, whether it's running, lifting weights, just walking in general, a lot of video games.
Walking to the grocery store.
Walking to the grocery store. I mean, you're carrying all kinds of bags and stuff back. But there was some beauty in that. Like I told you all earlier, I learned to love the nature. I learned to love walking. I love to slow down. Everything kind of slowed down when you were in England. You couldn't just get here and there and do this and do that. If you made a decision to do something that day, right, that's what you're doing that day. You're not doing 4 or 5 things. You're going to walk here. It's going to take you about an hour, and you're going to spend time doing that, and then you're going to walk back, and your day's over. But, no, the past time, like he said, we worked out. We played the game. I know a few times we actually walked down to the gym, which is like 35 minutes to go, play basketball, and the balls are locked up. The gym's available, but we have nobody to unlock basketballs, right? You get there and there's 200 desks spread out on the court, and so now what do? You got to walk back. So you just, so little stuff like that. But in those moments, in those walks, you laugh, you joke, you make memories. And in that moment, we didn't really realize it as brothers. But now that we're older and you look back on it, man, those times were beautiful, man. It was fun. I mean, we're walking through the woods, we're complaining, we're joking, we're stepping in mud, and we're making fun of each other. But it was beautiful. The past time in England was one of the best times of my life. I tell people all the time, I wouldn't trade it for the world. All right, it was beautiful.
Thank you for that. And now, what was a turning point for you at Durham? Y'all talked about some of your experiences prior to and while you've been there. The lack of access to certain resources like sport, but you found different ways to navigate around that. But what was a turning point for you at Durham?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the turning point for me in my time in Durham was definitely the Tees Valley Mohawks. Shout out Steve Butler, took a chance on me. That first year at Durham, right, I started questioning myself, man, can can I really hoop, man? Like, what's going on? Like, can I really? I mean, I'm scoring, 13, 14, 15, 16 points my first year. And I'm coming off of being able to score the ball whenever I wanted to before I got there. And so, I kind of, that doubt started to place a little bit, but I'm a very confident person. So I knew in the back of my head, like, I can still hoop. So that turning point came when I started playing with the Mohawks. And I'm telling you, I was going from scoring, 12 points, playing for Durham. And that same night, man, I'm talking about same day. I'm getting on a bus. I'm walking somewhere. I'm getting picked up on a random bus stop, and I'm going and scoring 50, being the main guy. And so that kind of opened up, and it brought back my confidence, and it allowed me to extend my playing career after Durham. So I would definitely say my turning point came from playing with the Mohawks and understanding, hey, I still got this. I can still do this at a very high level, and it changed my perspective and changed my next few years.
Yeah, I would say, kind of thinking back on it, I was trying to think of where there was one moment, or a big light bulb moment goes off. Yeah, take that hat off, boy. Light bulb. I was trying to think of the one, shining moment.
Your head shining. Go ahead.
But I don't have one. But what I do remember was some of the off-season work that we were doing. We were traveling to different places, telling the world of basketball out. And there's people that's getting paid, probably still getting paid now to play ball. And what it really started to spin off for me was once I came back to America and then would connect with these guys, just having the confidence to go and play anywhere in the world. And it's led to me playing like USA, like 3-on-3 basketball in like Saudi Arabia at one point, right? So like it's different things like that where you're building these experiences that really pays off long term, and you don't realize it at that moment. So I can't think of one just pure moment, but I think that off-season time of working together and going different places and playing against different people, and just having our way, like it was a unique feeling, and still do that to this day.
Powerful. Thank you. Now, how has that experience at Durham, everything that you've done, how's that made you flip the script in how you view life, sport, and your career? So expand on kind of what you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's what's interesting, and when I really started to look back on not only my time in Durham, not only my time in college in Arkansas, not only my time, in high school at Hernando, Mississippi, but it's really just all that put together, where it's some of the discipline and some of the leadership, some of these skills that just translate across any work of life, right? So there will be these days now where, I got senior leadership at Amazon just furious on the call, just screaming, and I'm just sitting there, even keel, like I've been told way worse by some of my coaches across the world, right? I love all my coaches. They've instilled some strong foundation into me, but like now I can go to these meetings, wake up super early every morning. It's just a discipline. Spend all these long days at work doing whatever the random task might be, right? But what I learned in basketball, and then some of the just being able to work through, what's the way to say it, like your challenges and like challenges unseen and seen, right? You don't always know what's happening in the other room or what people are saying behind your back or trying to work against you. But even some of the experiences I've had in Durham, I still use some of those foundational things now in my daily job at Amazon.
Absolutely. Yeah. More of the same. I kind of touched on having to walk everywhere, having to slow life down, the unfortunate situation of sitting corner and not being able to do the things I feel like I could do on the court, battling with that with myself, but having to have that, the persistence and that perseverance to fight through those tough times. We talked about walking to the gym, right, and it not being open. Now what do? Do you sit there and complain? Do you gripe, or do you find a way to get better? Right? Okay, we just walked 40 minutes. The gym's not open. What do? We ice bath, right? We do push-ups. We do sit-ups. We find some dumbbells. We walk back. And so now when you take all of those experiences and you kind of flip it back to my life, like, being a father now, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I think is the hardest job in the world is being a father. And a lot of times, right, people complain about crying babies. They complain about, not having time to do things. And I'm the opposite, right? When I hear my baby boy cry, right, I find beauty in that, because what if he stops crying one day, right? How would that make you feel, right? Nights where he doesn't want to go to sleep. Oh, well, I'm here. Right, I spent many nights in England. I spent many nights with my ankle injury when I told you that was one of my darkest times. Right, I spent many nights awake, couldn't sleep. Now I can spend nights awake, can't sleep because I got baby boy with me, and I can live with that. And so when you slow everything down that Durham taught me, when you talk about failing that accounting test, right? Okay, that was on me. That was nobody else's fault. It wasn't professors. It wasn't A's who was sitting next to me making jokes all day. It was my fault. I didn't lock in. And so now anything that comes my way, I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm going to focus. I'm going to lock in. I'm not going to need that second chance. And so a lot of failure in England, but it led me to being the successful man I am today. I'm proud of the man I've become. I'm proud of the brothers I have with me alongside this journey. I couldn't do it without Big Bro. I wouldn't have never made it to Durham without him and furthered my basketball career. Once upon getting there, meeting my brother right here to my right, keeping my head steady, keeping my head down, keeping me grounded, down to earth, having these spiritual conversations and having these talks about, these dark times, man, it brightened us. It made us better people. So Durham definitely made me a better person, made me a better brother, made me a better son, husband, father. And so I thank Durham for that.
I need to get y'all paid for this episode, man. Y'all endorsing Durham. Now, so, thank y'all for sharing that. Now, we're now going to get into the concluding part of the show. We're going to talk, where you're going to show us insight on ISBall life, right? But before we get into that, if you could reflect on your journey thus far, what do you know now that you wish you knew before?
I kind of knew it. I was old soul growing up, but what I knew through those 3 or 4 year stints, from ankle surgery to showing up to Durham, to walking everywhere, to stuff not going my way, to not being in the role that I wanted to be in the team, it's ultimately what I tell everybody, what I tell my players, what I tell my boys. Life isn't fair. People are evil. Quite frankly, I mean that's what it's going to be. Most people, 99.9% of people that you meet are selfish. And so when you look at it that way and you understand life isn't fair, you don't expect much from people, and you put all that onus and ownership on yourself. So that's the main thing for me. Is just I learned that life isn't fair, which cool. Like you either cry about it or you get up and you do the best you can with what you have. And so that's what I've learned to do every day. Wake up, be thankful for what I have, and do the best with that.
Yeah, I think for me, what I'll say is, man, yeah, I think for sure, like, in terms of taking things for granted, excuse me, what I mean by that is, I was having this conversation with somebody, and he was like, "Oh, you're from Mississippi?" Like, yeah. He was like, he's from California. True story. I'd never been anywhere, I think, west of probably like Las Vegas or something. So he was like, "Oh, I spent Mississippi. Like, it's, racist place and things like that." And for people that don't know, like, so in the United States, Mississippi is always seen as like a lower education state. I'm like, no, like I'm good. Like, I honor classes with everything. He was like, no, I'm expecting you to be living a certain way, or speak a certain way. And it really stuck with me from the standpoint of when you're interacting with people, like, you don't know their background, right? You don't know what they're going through. They could be having the best day. They could be having the worst day. But if you, through your interactions, can have a positive impact on them, who knows, right? Like, the next time they meet someone like you, or, hey, I met somebody from Mississippi, or they think about, hey, I met this, big, bald, black dude. They might think of, I had a great experience with this guy, and we were just passing, walking in an airport or something, right? So I think trying to be mindful and just, your interactions with people, and you just never know how that might shape somebody, right? So I always think back to that conversation with him, and the only time he had heard about Mississippi was when he heard negative news online, right? So that's always going to travel faster. But it's always stuck with me to not only give people the benefit of the doubt, but try to leave a lasting impression on them so they have that positive thought when they think of someone like you. Because, I mean, stereotypes are a real thing for a reason, right? But we all don't have to fit into a box that way.
Thank you. That's powerful. I appreciate y'all coming. I know I appreciate y'all sharing your story, your background, and I would say just being honest. And I'm sure people who are listening to this is going to definitely take a lot out of it, especially future Durham alumni. I mean, past Durham alumni and then future Durham alumni as well. So I really do appreciate y'all taking the time. We spoke a lot about, your background, basketball. Y'all dropped some gems today for sure. I loved how you mentioned, Charlton, about how things slowed down and you appreciate the beauty and time efficiency, right? And you used Durham in a way. You used Durham, you didn't let it use you, right? And I think that's important. Adrian, y'all both spoke also highly about recently just now about these assumptions and how you removed that and how you navigate life, how you talk to different types of people, being open, asking questions. And I think y'all's story is amazing because y'all are basically your brothers. Yeah, you are brothers, right? And it's definitely y'all definitely show me what brotherhood looks like, especially people who, if you didn't grow up in the same household, you're not technically blood brothers, but in reality, it's spiritually y'all are there together, and it's amazing to see how y'all have grown. But now we're gonna get to the final question. I'm just gonna do it with both of y'all together, man. I'm not gonna do it solo. I'm just gonna do both of you. All right. So, is ball life?
So if you're asking me a yes or no question, I'm going to say no. But I think in life, it's always contextual, right? There's a lot that goes into that. Is ball life for me? I'm going to say no, but it has shaped my life. What I mean by that is because of basketball, I've now been to, as of this year, 37 countries now. And basketball is something that I've used as almost like a universal language, right? Like you can go different places, you can bounce that basketball, and the hoop is still there, right? It's 10 feet. Well, after I get done dunking, it might be a little bit shorter, but so ball isn't life, but it's shaped everything around me. So the discipline that I've learned when I'm having those tough days at work, I remember like some of those days where I had a terrible game before, got to bounce it off, right? Let's let it roll off, and you got to go back, get it again the next day. Or thinking about all the hours practicing, right? So same thing at work now. I might have a big meeting coming up, but I have to do the preparation before to prepare for that, right? So ball isn't life, but it's shaped my life, and it's the foundation of what I've really learned. So like when I think about, being recently married now and, just the discipline and the hard work that comes with that. Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Are we doing it together? We've just been blessed to buy a new house here in Katy, right? So all those different things that now it's not just me, right? Like it's with someone else that we're building everything together. So I think of the same discipline and some of the same learnings from basketball. While it's not my life, it's the foundation, and it's led me to who I am today.
That's tough to follow up on. Toughest question of them all is ball life. Oddly enough, man, we kind of have the same perception of it, but a different answer. I would say yes. Is ball life? Absolutely. And that's not to say that basketball is the most important thing in my life. Like, I don't want you to spin it that way. I don't want you all to spin it that way. But when it comes to basketball, if I think about my life and who I am and who I want to be and who I ever was, if you remove basketball from my life, wow. Like, I mean, I think about my brothers growing up and all the time we shared just playing basketball in the backyard, going to open gyms and playing together. I think about all the friendships I have in my life, all the brothers that weren't blood brothers, how I met them. I think about my parents and, you know, what they instilled in me. And ball is life for me because of the things he talked about: self-control, self-discipline, time management, empathy, collaboration, camaraderie, right? All of these things that you learn in sport, which I believe personally is one of the most effective and productive ways to acquire the skills you need to be successful, come from basketball. I actually did my dissertation on the desirability of student athletes from the managerial perspective. And every manager, business owner, person high up that I spoke to and interviewed said that they primarily want to hire athletes, former student athletes. And to me, that goes to show that, you know, basketball isn't the most important thing in my life. But it's definitely made me the man I am today, the father, the husband I am today, the friend, the brother I am today, the son. And I have no clue where I would be without it. So for me, ball is life.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about it. And I'm like, it's crazy because we could almost like flip our answers, like you called out, and it'll still be the same, right? So it's interesting to see how this stupid game of basketball can have the impact that it does for people in different ways, right? And it's the same with sports, but just basketball for us. But how it's really taken us from a little age to now full grown, like adults with real lives, real responsibilities.
I hate losing. I hate losing. Like, anybody that knows me, whether I've got to have to cheat, claw, do something to get them, I hate losing. And that all stems from basketball. That, I mean, the husband I am, the father that I am now today is just simply because I can't lose. I can't lose. I can't lose out on this.
Quick question. There's something trending around with women talking about it's about basically it says if you want to know how a man is, who they are, watch them play basketball.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about that?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not interesting to me. It's not interesting to me, right? Like, you can tell a cat his heart from the way he warms up, from the way he competes on the basketball court. He doesn't have to be good. He doesn't have to be bad at basketball. But you can tell by the way a cat, you know, lay that joint up, if he kind of this, he pat. Like, you can tell a lot from the way a dude carries himself on the court. And so, I mean, again, basketball to me, man, it's kill or be killed. That's why to me it's life. Like, I hate losing. I don't care about winning. Like, to win, like, I win a game. We won the championship here in this Ultimate Hoops season about a season ago, and we won. And I was just like, okay. But if we would have lost, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's a good point.
You can tell a lot. You can tell a lot.
I'm kind of thinking about it because it's funny though. Like, when you watch us on the court, like, it's funny because, like, even this man has probably thrown me, probably no lie, thousands of alley-oops. And, like, we'll go back and look at pictures or videos, and I'm very, like, kind of even keel, and I'm like that throughout pretty much everything I'm doing. So this man throw the alley-oop, and I mean big celebrations.
Y'all gonna think I dunked it. If y'all ever see me throw this man alley-oop, y'all gonna think I dunked it.
You can see it on the pictures, but no, you're right. So I to your point though, I remember watching this dude on camera hit a three. I mean, it was just like beginning of the game, just three, you know, just thinking normal shot, like get back on defense. Watching film, this man shooting the arrow on the back of his head. Wow. I said, oh, he locked in. Locked in on defense, playing full court. But I mean, it's the same thing. And that's how he approaches things off the court, right? So, no matter what he's doing, he's gonna be full head in it, dedicated. So. But yeah,
it's what the podcast says. It's a flip. You flip the script, and how do you flip the script, and how do you do things, and how do you juggle with life? And I mean, basketball has taught me how to flip the script on everything. How to come back from a loss. How to come back from missing a game-winning shot. How to come back from, losing your best friend who was there for you so much in the basketball world. Now, how do you flip that script? How do you live for other people? How do you compete? And again, right, basketball, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, but one thing is going to stay the same when it comes to basketball, right? You have to learn how to move as a unit, a family, and that's what brought me to the man I am today. So ball is life.
Hey, man, that's a good answer. Highs and lows, like when you lost your hair.
Yeah.
All right.
High and low top. You had a high top and a low top at the same time.
All right. Is there any social media handles, anyway, how people can follow you on?
I don't even know my.
Man, I was about to say, I don't even know what mine is. Somewhere on there.
I'm gonna be back. I took a 6 weeks cleanse. Again, basketball taught me this. I used to take 6 week cleanse and off of social media before season and things of that nature. I took a 6 week cleanse, but you can find me at Here We Go Jones. Just like it says, HEREWEGO Jones. Here we go on IG. It's deactivated right now, but you give me 48 hours when school starts back. It'll be kicking back again. Here we go, Jones.
I don't know, man. This might make me get back into the social media game. Back like I never left.
Shaq like you never left.
Good. I appreciate y'all both coming on. I'm proud of you both, man. For real. Thank you for Thank you for coming.
We appreciate you. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
I don't know if he don't shout his stuff enough, but big bro. Done did it all, man. He done molded everything. He done shaped it. When he talked about playing overseas, he was the first one to do it in the family, and then he got to further his education. He was the first one to do it. I shouldn't say the first one to do it, but he furthered his education, and then he got the PhD. And so, like I said, man, to me, basketball led him that route. He used the basketball. The basketball didn't use him, and I mapped that out. I followed that path, and I appreciate you having us on. I appreciate you showing me the ropes when it comes to, do I want to go D1? Do I want to go JUCO? Do I want to go D2? You laid all that out, and I was able to watch you and follow you and kind of mold it out. So appreciate you having us. Keep doing great things, my boy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Love y'all both, man.
Love you too.
Y'all keep doing y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the Rehumanization Station. One love, yeah.